Hi, welcome to Open Door Yoga. My name is Michelle. Tonight's class is part of my Tuesday night Recover and Restore Yoga series. So let's get started. The only props you're going to need today are maybe a folded blanket. If you don't have a yoga blanket, a regular blanket, or even a folded beach towel or bath towel could be helpful. It'll just be nice to have a little lift when we're seated at the beginning of the practice. And also, we're spending a little bit of time with our knees on the ground, and so it might feel good to have a little bit of padding. So to get started, let's come to our lift if you'd like, but it's going to be a comfortable, easy seat. You can let your hands come wherever they're comfortable on your thighs, palms down, palms up, maybe take a mudra if you'd like. And let's start feeling this posture in our body a little bit. So begin to come to your breath. Notice your inhales, your exhales. You can close down your gaze if you'd like, or maybe lower it slightly. Begin to feel both of your sitting bones grounded into the earth or into your lift. Feel a little engagement in your core to help support your spine as we're sitting upright. Begin to draw your shoulders down away from your ears, your shoulder blades down and in on your back body. And then begin to reach your crown up towards the sky to create this length in our spine. Maybe we come back to our breath. Notice any changes. Are our inhales or exhales getting fuller? Maybe they're getting a little bit longer. And I'm going to challenge you, since today is a recovery practice and the postures don't require as much strength as a typical hatha class, to focus your energy on being mindful to your breath. So much about yoga is about breathing and breath control, and how your breath can change the way that you feel and can change your energetic state, your physical state, your mental body. And so let's take this opportunity, since it's a nice, slow-moving class, to practice. So from here, we're going to start to warm up our spine a little bit. You can blink open your gaze if you've closed it. And on an inhale, let's begin to pull our belly forward, pull our shoulders back, and then lift our gaze up towards the sky. And then on an exhale, we're going to round through our spine, drop our gaze, and let the back of our neck relax. Let's move with our breath. Inhale is guiding you into this seated cow pose or Bitilasana. And exhale, sending you into the seated cat pose or Marjariyasana. In cow pose, at the end of this posture, see if you can feel this widening, this expansion in your collarbone, your chest. And at the end of cat pose, in this final state, see if you can notice the widening or sensation, that stretch between your shoulder blades. Just like in regular cat-cow, we're starting the movement at our tailbone, and we're moving one vertebra at a time. So really allowing our spine to move like a wave. Let's take one more cow, one more cat, wherever you're at the pace of your breath. And then return to our comfortable, easy seat, hands on our thighs. Take a full breath in here, full breath out. And then from here, on an inhale, send your left fingertips up towards the sky. And then exhale, plant your right hand, bend into your right elbow, and begin to bend to the right. On your inhale, feel this expansion in your left side body, your left rib cage. On your exhales, feel that grounding through your sitting bones. Maybe pull your shoulder blades back down your back body. Another breath in, maybe our gaze lifts up towards the sky. Let's take one more full breath in. One more full breath out. Inhale, rise. Exhale, release your left hand. Take a full breath cycle here. And on our next inhale, send those right fingertips up high. Exhale, plant your left hand, bend into your left elbow, and then bend your spine so that we're reaching towards the left side wall. Inhale here. Feel that opening, that expansion this time in your right side body, your right rib cage. Exhale, keep that grounding through both of your sitting bones, those shoulder blades down and in. Inhale, maybe we lift our gaze. Take one more breath cycle here. Full breath in. Full breath out. And inhale, rise. Exhale, extend or release. And then we're going to do one more seated posture, and that's going to be a seated twist. First to the right and then to the left. Since we're still warming up the spine, take it easy on these twists. It is a recovery class, and so we're not going to be pulling on our spine, but instead see if you can use your core strength and from your core twist from there. And so let's give it a try together. On your next inhale, let's send those left fingertips up towards the sky. And then exhale, begin to twist gently to the right. You can place your left hand on your right knee. Right hand comes behind you. And then from here, on your inhales, we're reaching the crown of our head up towards the sky, creating this space in our spine. So then on our exhales, from our core, we can gently twist a little bit deeper. So take a couple breaths here on your own. Inhales, creating length, creating space. And exhales, maybe twisting a little bit deeper. Your next inhale, let's unwind. Exhale, find your easy seat. And let's take another full breath cycle here. Inhale, let's take it to the left. So inhale, extend your right fingertips up towards the sky. And exhale, begin to twist to the left, right hand to left knee, left hand comes behind. And again, we're going to take a few breaths here at the pace of your breath. Inhales, finding this extension, this length. And exhales, maybe finding a gentle deepening into your twist. Touch base with your shoulders. If you're noticing that your shoulders are starting to creep up to your ears, see if you can draw those shoulder blades down and in on your back body. One more full breath in. One more full breath out. Inhale, unwind. And exhale, find your easy seat. So take a nice full breath in here. That expansion in your rib cage, maybe even into your belly. And then exhale that breath completely. And then from here, we're going to make our way onto hands and knees. So if you did find a nice comfy lift, set it off to the side for now. We might come back to it if you're going to use it to support your knees here in a moment. So find your wrists under your elbows, elbows under shoulders, knees under hips. And begin to bring some of that engagement back to your core. So we don't want to kind of slump our belly down towards the earth here. We want to pull our belly button in away from our shirt, press away from the earth. And from here, we're going to extend our right leg long, but keep our toes on the earth. And we're going to begin to just warm up and stretch into our calf muscle. So inhale, rock up on your tippy toes, so lean your weight forward. And then exhale, press your heel towards the back wall. Inhale, rock forwards. And exhale, press that heel towards the back wall, feeling that stretch through your calf muscle. Move with your breath. I'm just going to take a couple more breaths here. then when you're ready, we'll send our right knee up to meet our left, and then extend our left leg. So when you feel stable, balanced, then on your inhale, rock up on those left tiptoes, and then exhale, send your left heel towards the back wall. Move with your breath. And let's just take one more nice inhale up to our toes, and exhale to stretch into that calf. Return your left knee by your right. Get settled back into your hands and knees posture, and then begin to press down evenly through both palms, ground down through all 10 knuckles. And then from here, we're going to begin to send our weight and our hips back and up into our first downward facing dog. Really take your time here, pedal out your feet. And when I say that, I mean bend into one knee and lift that heel, and then take it to the other side. A lot of times in downward facing dog, it's easy to become focused on the hamstrings and stretching into the backs of our legs. But really, what we want to focus on is creating this long spine. So find that engagement in your core again and use that strength to send your hips up and back a little bit further. Create a little bit of space between your ears and your shoulders by drawing your shoulder blades down your back body. And then with that long spine, find stillness in your legs. Maybe our heels are lifted. Maybe we have a bend in our knee, and that's okay. Take one more full breath in. One more full breath out. Now let's drop our knees. And we're going to send our right foot up and through and step between our hands. And so from here, we're going to spend a little bit of time with our left knee grounded onto the mat. And so if you're on a firm or hard surface like I am, or even if you're not, if it feels good, grab a blanket or a towel, whatever lift you may have been using in the beginning, and you can pad your knee so that it doesn't become uncomfortable here. Then begin to shift your weight and your hips forward and down. And then as you feel stable in your lower body, let's work our way up. So we want to keep our chest open. So roll your shoulders back. Maybe we come up to fingertips. Maybe we bring our hands up to blocks if you have them. You can always bring your hands up to your thigh. Or maybe you can take an option of bringing your hands to heart center, or sweeping your arms up and overhead if you really want a big opening through your front body. So we'll pause here for a couple breaths. Come back to that breath. Let's take one more good inhale here. And then exhale, plant your hands if you've chosen to lift them up. And then begin to send your hips up and back, rocking on your right heel. Right toes are pointed up towards the sky. So we're coming into this half splits posture here. And there's a tendency sometimes to sit down and draw your tailbone down towards the earth. But I want you to imagine that the back wall behind you is right up behind you and you're trying to sit on it. So there's this lifting of your hips. And then from there, focus your breath on where you feel the sensation the most. So maybe it's in your hamstring. Maybe you're feeling it a little bit lower in your calf. Maybe it's in your low back or your hips. But send those nice, full, deep inhales to wherever you're feeling the sensation the most. We'll take one more breath in. One more full breath out. And then let's begin to rock forward, send those hips forward and down. And instead of staying in our hip flexor stretch, we're going to plant both hands on the inside of our right foot, toe heel our foot to the long edge of the mat, and then turn our toes about 45 degrees away from us. And from here, we're coming into lizard pose. And so check in with your body right now. If this already feels like a very intense posture, grab a couple blocks if you have them. You can also use books that you might have at home that are sturdy that you could stack, or maybe even a couple folded blankets, just to bring the ground up a little bit higher and make the stretch a little bit less intense. If you're hanging out here and don't feel much sensation and are looking for a little bit more, you can consider folding here. The only thing I want you to be mindful of is if you start to fold and then our hips pop up, I want you to come out of the posture because we want to keep our hips low to feel the stretch in our hips. So just be mindful of how your body feels, what's going on, and then choose the variation that works best for you. So one more full breath in here. One more full breath out. And then let's begin to toe heel our right foot back in between our hands. Send our right knee back. So we're coming back to hands and knees briefly. We can set our little knee pad off to the side. And then let's bring our knees to touch, our toe mounds to touch. Tuck our toes, and we're going to walk our hands back into a toe stretch. So we're going to walk your hands up your thighs. Maybe reach back if your pinky toes didn't touch on their own. And then from here, check in with your body. So this can feel like a very intense stretch, and if it does feel too much, you can walk your hands forward, just lifting a little bit of weight out of your heels. Toe stretch can feel very intense because we have this line of fascia that starts down in our feet, our plantar fascia, and runs up our entire back body. And we do so much on our feet every day, and we tend to ignore them. And so this can feel like an intense stretch. And so bear with me if you can. We'll take 2 more deep breaths here. Definitely come back to your breath if you've lost it. It'll help you out. 1 more full inhale. Full exhale. And then slowly, we're going to come out of this very slowly. Walk your hands down your thighs, back into hands and knees. Keep your toes tucked. And then once you're in hands and knees, you can come up onto your tippy toes, hold for a second, and then you can release the tops of your feet down to the earth. You can stay right here for a moment, or if it feels good, you can come into a counter stretch. And so if you want to take that option, we're just going to walk our hands back. So our weight's coming over our heels, but this time we're stretching through the fronts of our ankles. So you can sit here with the weight on your heels. Maybe you reach behind you. Maybe you even lift your heels slightly. If you're lifting your heels, you can play with your balance. Take 1 more breath in, 1 more breath out, and then we can come out of this posture. Back to hands and knees, and then we'll step our left foot up and through into our low lunge. So we still have our lift available. If you want to use it on your right knee, feel free. And then once you're set up, begin to send those hips forward and down, feeling the sensation in your right hip flexor, the front of your right hip. And then once you're feeling stable in your lower body, roll those shoulders back. So open up through your chest, keep this lightness in your torso and your arms and your shoulders. Maybe we come up to fingertips, hands to blocks. You could even rest your hands gently on your thigh as long as we're not pushing down too hard. Maybe we bring our hands to heart center if that feels comforting. Maybe if we're looking for more of a stretch through our front body, we sweep those arms overhead. Gaze can lift slightly. Let's stay here for just 2 more breaths. Full inhale. Full exhale. One more full inhale. And exhale if you've lifted up. Plant those hands. And then let's begin to send our hips up and back. Rock on our left heel. Lift our left toes. It may take a little bit of adjusting to come into this half splits on this side. And you may notice that one side feels more comfortable than the other. A lot of times, if a stretch is very intense, our body instinctively kind of bails out of it. And so in this posture, what that might look like is our hips starting to turn to the right. And so if you're noticing that, just imagine pulling your left thigh bone back into your hip socket to help realign those hips. And that'll bring the sensation back into your hamstrings and your low back. So send those nice deep inhales to wherever you're feeling that sensation. Let's take one more breath in. Full breath out. And then let's begin to send our weight forward. And again, we're going to pause here in this low lunge for just a moment as we plant both of our hands on the inside of our left foot. And then begin to toe heel that left foot to the long edge of the mat. Turn our toes out 45 degrees and make our way into lizard pose. So again, both sides of the body are going to feel a little bit different. And so just because maybe you folded on the left side doesn't mean that that's going to feel right on this side. So we're always going to check in with where you're at now. Maybe we have to reduce the intensity by bringing our hands up to a support, or maybe we choose to fold a little bit deeper. If that's the case, again, we're checking back on our hips. We don't want to see any hips starting to pop up here. If that's the case, then just press back out of the posture a little bit. Let's stay here for one more full breath in. One more full breath out. And then let's begin to toe heel that left foot back in between our hands. Step back to hands and knees, and we'll remove this prop for now. From here, we're going to make our way into puppy pose, or in yin yoga, what's called melting heart pose. And I say the yin yoga name just because it's going to help us imagine what our body needs to be doing as we get into the pose. So once you feel stable in your hands and knees, tabletop posture, begin to extend your arms out in front of you. And then if you've noticed your weight starting to shift forward, send your hips back so that they stay above your knees. And from here, we're going to slowly lower our forehead down to the earth. And now if you're lowering and the ground just seems really far away, you can always bring your lift back and bring the ground up to you. If you have tightness in your upper back, your shoulders, the backs of your arms, this might feel like a pretty intense stretch. Once you feel settled and grounded through your forehead, now picture that melting heart posture that I mentioned, and imagine melting your heart, your chest down towards the earth. And then from here, check in with your low back. So if you're like me, my low back is more flexible than my upper back. And so I might have a tendency to dump into my low back like this. So instead of keeping my low back straight and feeling the stretch in my upper back, I might dump into my low back. So check in with your body. If you're noticing this dumping, all you need to do is engage your core a little bit. So imagine pulling your belly button up towards your body, away from your shirt, and then hopefully that sensation will shift back down into your upper back, your shoulders, maybe the backs of your arms. Let's take one more full breath in. Full breath out. And inhale, let's begin to walk our body up. And we're going to just come into this knee plank posture just for a moment. Take an inhale, reach your crown towards the front of the room, long spine. And then exhale, slowly bend into your elbows and lower your chest all the way down to the earth. So readjust here, get comfortable. We'll be on our belly for a moment. I'm going to move my prop off to the side. So forehead comes down to the earth, tops of the feet can come down to the earth, so you can untuck those toes. And then from here, I'm going to extend my right arm out to the side and then forward a few inches. So I'll lift my arm so you guys can see it. So it's out to the side and then towards the front wall just a little bit. I'm going to plant my palm on the earth. And then I'm going to begin to press into my left palm and roll onto my right side body. So we're going to feel this sensation in your shoulder pretty quick. If you only get to here, that's fine. If you get to here, that's fine. If you get all the way onto your side body, that's fine too. Check in with how your shoulder is feeling, what your body needs. You can always bring your left knee to help support your body out in front, or maybe even the sole of your left foot to the earth. Now, if you get onto your side body and you're looking for more sensation, you can always bend into your left knee, but plant the left foot on the outside of your right leg. And that's going to open up a little bit more through your shoulders. If it feels good, you could even take a bind here and open up more. But listen to your body. That didn't really feel good for me today, and so I'm going to plant my left hand right here. Let's take a couple more breaths together. Full breaths in, full exhales. Let's take one more full breath in and a full exhale. And then we're going to unwind. And from here, let's bend into that right elbow, bend into your left, and you can release your forehead to the backs of your hands. Take a couple full breaths. And then when you're ready, we'll plant our right hand under our right shoulder and then extend our left arm long. And then from here, again, we're lifting it or reaching it just a few inches or so towards the front of the room. And then begin to press into your right palm and roll onto your left side body. Again, check in. If you need to put your knee down or your foot down and find this halfway point that feels good, you're more than welcome to do that. If you roll all the way up on your side body and you're looking for more sensation in your shoulder and your chest, maybe you bend into that top knee and plant your right foot behind you. Or maybe not. Maybe we hang out here on our side body. Let's take 2 more deep breaths here. One more full inhale. Full exhale. And then roll back on your belly. Bend into both elbows and let your forehead rest on the back of your hand. So from here, we're going to come into a very gentle back extension, Sphinx pose. And so to make sure that we protect our low back, our spine, let's create a lot of space back there before we even start to move into the posture. So to create some length in our lower spine, let's bend into our right knee, extend that leg long, reaching our toes towards the back wall before resting our foot on the earth. Let's do the same thing with our left side. So bend into your left knee, extend your leg, reach your toes back towards the wall. And hopefully you feel a little bit more length in your lower back. So now that we have some length in our lower back, let's see if we can get a little bit of length width-wise as well. So to do that, we're going to roll our thighs outward. So imagine trying to reach the outside of your thighs down towards the mat. And hopefully you feel a little more space being created in that low back. From here, we're going to bring our elbows under our shoulders. So keep your neck relaxed here, your gaze down. Plant your palms on the earth. Forearms are parallel. And then once you feel stable and steady, Then begin to come into this gentle back extension by lifting your gaze, pulling your shoulders back, opening up through your chest. You might feel a little sensation between your shoulder blades and your upper back body. If you're starting to feel a sensation in your low back, just create a little bit more space. We've got these forearms and our palms planted, so pull back to send your chest forwards and create a little bit more space in your spine, a little bit more length in your low back. Let's take 2 more deep breaths here. Full breath in, full breath out. 1 more full breath in. Full exhale. Release your chest, your forehead down to the earth. Take a moment here if you'd like. Otherwise, we're all going to make our way to child's pose. So if your hands are underneath your shoulders, engage through your core, press back up to that knee plank just briefly, and then step your knees forward. And you can come to the child pose variation of your choice. So one option would be toe mounds to touch. Spread your knees towards the long edge of the mat, and then send your hips back, reach your arms forward. Again, forehead can rest on the earth or maybe on a lift. If that option is not something that sounds good right now, maybe we bring our knees together. Toe mounds are still touching. Then we send our hips back, and our arms come behind us with our palms up towards the sky. So take whatever option feels best for you. This is where I'm going to leave you today. So stay here as long as you'd like. Let your body rest. Find stillness. Thank you so much for sharing your practice with me today. Namaste.